My name is Brian Kelly, and I'm going to talk about the gun violence that occurs in Chicago and changing gun laws. And I don't know if any of you know this, but we're all 18, so any of us could go buy a gun right now and own it. And pretty much buying a gun is about as easy as ordering pizza, which a gun is a weapon to kill somebody, and that isn't right. And every day we hear in the local news or the global news about somebody getting shot and killed all over the country, whether it's in Philly, Chicago, New York. Someone's always getting shot and killed every day. And even some of us may know loved ones that have been shot, but these are people's aunts, uncles, moms, dads, kids, cousins, and friends that are getting shot every day. And I was watching an interview with Derek Rose, who's from Chicago, and he was describing how he grew up, and he just broke out in tears. And after that, I wanted to do my research to see how bad it really was if he cried over a speech. And I learned about all the gun violence that occurs from there, and it's not safe to be out there. And which is why I think that they should change, even though it's all over the country. I think specifically Chicago, they should make stricter gun laws to make guns not as easy to obtain to help prevent the violence from occurring. So, which is why I'm going to persuade you to help make the laws change because of the problems that occur in Chicago from gun violence. I'm going to tell you about the possible solutions for changing gun laws and the future of the city if the gun laws are changed. And I have a quick video to show you. Is this volume up?
Part of the solution to gun violence in our city and our neighborhood starts with common sense gun laws.
Mosley has fought for years for stricter gun laws. He's had limited success.
This is like genocide in our own backyard. And, I see the U.S., we've always thought, the champions would go overseas and solve problems, but yet, we still have problems here that, we can't deal with.
Mosley isn't like a lot of other 17-year-olds. He knows he's not invincible.
Every day I get up thinking about the work that I do, and, if this would be my last day here.
10-year-old Trevon Bosley shares the same fears.
I'm afraid that someone will shoot someone else in my family.
Do you feel like that could happen? I mean, is that the kind of thing you think about often?
Yes.
Good. So, first I'm going to talk about the problems that occur in Chicago from gun violence. In the year 2012, 443 people were shot dead in Chicago. And out of those 443 people, 65 of them were under the age of 18, the New York Daily News reported. And the Washington Post reported that between the school year of 2012, which is about August to June, you could say, 319 school students were shot, and 24 of them ended up dead. And in the year of 2012, the Washington Post reported there was a 12% increase in shootings in the city. And the Washington Post also reported that by the end of 2012, there were 2,364 total shootings in the city. And the reason why all this violence occurs is because of the weak laws that exist in the city. The Investor's Business Daily reported that Chicago, out of all cities in America, has the lowest prosecution rate in the whole country. And in the New York Daily News reported, in New York, there's a 3-year minimum sentence for illegal firearm possession, while in Chicago, there's a 3-month minimum sentence. So if you're in New York and you have an illegal firearm that you did not purchase or got from somebody, you're going to jail for 3 years. And in Chicago, you're going to jail for 3 months, which is a very big difference. And the same source, the New York Daily News, also reported that many of the judges in Chicago, they have a lot of other cases to deal with because of the murders, that if someone gets caught with illegal firearms, a lot of times they might dismiss their case because they have other cases to deal with. And if someone has an illegal firearm, that's not a case that should be dismissed because that's a felony. And last year there were 7,400 illegal firearms seized by police, the New York Daily News said, but that's just the amount of illegal firearms that were seized. There's still plenty on the streets, and that's takes me into the solutions for the problem. Well, obviously, the solution to the gun law would to be making stricter laws. And like I said, New York has a 3-year minimum sentence for having an illegal firearm. Chicago has 3 months. You would think that if someone were to be threatened with a 3-year sentence of having a legal firearm, they would most likely not have one if compared to having a 3-month sentence, because a 3-month sentence, I could do a 3-month sentence, to be honest. And they obviously need to work on the court systems. You can't really drop a felony. That's not something that should be dropped at all. So that would be a big solution if you actually locked up the people that did have illegal firearms instead of dismissing their cases, which another solution could just be to hire better judges and more qualified judges that are going to prosecute the people and give them the right punishment for their crimes. And the New York Daily News said that there was straw buyers in Chicago, a high amount of them. And straw buyers are people that buy firearms legally and transfer them illegally. There is no law in Chicago on straw buyers. And basically, any of us could buy a gun and give it to someone in Chicago and nothing could happen to us, which is how a lot of the illegal firearms are transferred. And the New York Daily News reported how New York improved their violence in their city by hiring a lot of officers in their crime-ridden areas, and that could be a solution to preventing all of this from happening, is by putting more officers in crime-ridden areas in Chicago. And another law exists in New York, the stop and frisk rule. Basically, a police has the right to stop anyone and check them for illegal firearms if they are questionable or they look guilty of it. And they don't have that law in Chicago, which is how New York lowered their crime rate. So if Chicago did the same thing, that could be the solution to the problem. Which, after the solution, or not using the solution, the future of the city is in open hands, you could say. Which gang members take up 80% of the violence that occurs in Chicago. And if gang members couldn't get guns, because those are the people that aren't qualified to own them, if you check their background, because you have to check their background information on the gun laws, if they couldn't get guns, there wouldn't be as much gun violence. So if guns weren't as easily obtainable, there would be no violence, or there would be 80% less. And you know, the whole transferring guns thing, if that continues, if they don't make a law for that, then the shootings are just going to continue, and Chicago is going to continue to be the murder capital of the U.S. And if they don't make stricter laws, then school students are going to continue to get shot, and people are going to continue losing their family members and their friends and all of that. But if they make stricter gun laws, then the city can be a lot more safer for people to live in. Which takes me to my conclusion that although none of us work in government, making the government more aware about the problem, because they have a lot of problems to deal with on their own, could help make a better decision, or voting for the right person could lead to a change in the gun laws. And the ease of getting a gun is way too easy in the city and many other cities, which is why we should try to work to change the gun laws and make it stricter for everyone, so that the violence doesn't occur as much. And basically, you never know when you could have to go to Chicago for a business trip or vacation or anything, and you don't really want to feel uncomfortable about being in a city in your own country, because some of the people that live in Chicago, they said they go to as many funerals, about 5 a month, 5 funerals a month, and that's a lot. So I think that we should all try and work together to make a change for the city. Any questions?